morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, well, we've got some more of them. They're a lovely Pokemon cards from the upcoming Battle Styles expansion that we need to be having a little bit of a look at. And I think it's probably about time that we had a look at those stadiums. Now, the stadiums got me in a little bit of trouble because when I did a review of the Isle of Armor on this very channel, I described it, I think, accurately as spoiler-free. But we knew that the towers were in the game. They'd been shown off in pre-release trailers. So I showed a random innocuous battle from inside the towers which we knew were going to be in there, we'd been told pre-release, and got told that was some kind of massive spoiler, so I don't know. The point is, there were two of them. There was the Water Tower, or the Tower of Water, and there was the Tower of Darkness. And that was where you went and evolved your Kubfu into either Rapid Strike or Single Strike Urshifu. Well, we've got lovely artwork, which looks exactly like they do in the Isle of Armor. We've got the Tower of Water, which is clearly going to help our Rapid Strike Pokemon. And we've got the Tower of Darkness, which is clearly going to help our Single Strike Pokemon. Remember, Urshifu is always Fighting type. This determined its other typing. So, with all of that borne in mind, we should probably look at what the towers do. And we're going to start with the Tower of Water, because I am on Team Rapid Strike, and I make no apology for it. Empoleon FTW. And what we've got is a stadium card that reads, the retreat cost of both players' Rapid Strike Pokemon is 2 less. Cool. It lowers the retreat cost of all of your Rapid Strike Pokemon by 2. The thing is, if we start taking a look at some of our Rapid Strike Pokemon, we start getting pretty gosh darn happy because they tend to have a retreat cost of 2. Rapid Strike Urshifu V, retreat cost of 2. Rapid Strike Urshifu V Max, retreat cost of 2. That one's huge, we'll get there in a minute. Empoleon V, retreat cost of 2. And we haven't talked about this yet, we'll get there in a minute in a video later today with a couple of other cards. But Octillery, retreat cost of 2. They've all got a retreat cost of 2. Nice! So, and I know we haven't seen many, we've only seen 4. But all of the... No, wait, I'm lying to you, ladies and gentlemen. They're not the only ones we've seen. I previously showed you Rillaboom V that has a retreat cost of 2. So the point I'm making here is that so far they've all had a retreat cost of 2. Given that this stadium reduces the retreat cost by 2, I don't think that's a coincidence. I think the goal here is to give free retreat. Why does it not just give all of them free retreat? Because that opens up design options in the future to have, or maybe even in this set, for certain Pokemon. Essentially, they want to give you free retreat, but there might be a few Pokemon where giving free retreat would be potentially unfair, so they make things a little bit more like this. My point is, I love it, but I especially love it for Rapid Strike Urshifu V Max. Now, I've made no secret of the fact that I love the Gale Thrust attack. 1 fighting energy, 30 damage. If this Pokemon moved from your bench to your active spot this turn, this attack does 150 instead. But what you really need to do then is get in and out of the active. And what would be lovely is if you could just need 1 switch. Because remember, you can only retreat once per turn. But that means you essentially retreat and then you switch, or scoop up, that I suppose would work as well. And then you're golden. So you've got Rapid Strike Urshifu in the active, you attack with Gale Thrust, you do 150, but next turn you're only doing 30. So you free retreat with Tower of Water, maybe you stick something like a Jirachi into the active, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a trainer card, put it into your hand, scoop up that bad boy out of there, and then go back into the active to hit for another 150. Now, this isn't a perfect solution, because remember, Martial Arts Dojo is a thing. If you've got a basic fighting energy on, you'll do an extra 10 damage. 40 if you're behind on prizes, and clearly that's the kind of thing that Rapid Strike Urshifu is sometimes going to want to do. Because 150 won't KO many Pokemon GXs or Vs, 190 will start KOing a bunch. Not all of them, but a bunch more. So my point here is, great stadium, but do remember there will sometimes be other stadiums we want instead. We may want to play Chaotic Swell to counter our opponent's stadium. We might want to play Power Plant to turn off their abilities, etc. Things to bear in mind. But the other thing is, remember that Urshifu V Max, you're going to want to get it in and out the active. Well, you might have something else in the active. Well, in it comes, as long as it's a Rapid Strike Pokemon. It might not be that you're switching in and out every turn. It might just be that you want to pop it in once. This'll work. Empoleon V's got the ability where basic Pokemon that don't have a rule box, Pokemon V, Pokemon GX, etc., don't have any abilities, and it might be that this works for a few turns, but then your opponent starts something else that doesn't rely on those Pokemon, so all of a sudden Empoleon doesn't need to be in the active. Oh look, here comes anything else. I like this stadium. There's a reason why Sky Arrow Bridge was so good for so long. It just reduced the retreat cost of basic Pokemon by 1 colorless energy, but it worked beautifully with stuff like Smeargle or Celebi Prime, etc. And there's a reason why I think this is going to see a bunch of play as well. But of course, that is just one of the 2 stadiums we need to be looking at in today's video. We also need to take a look at Tower of Darkness, another rather phenomenal stadium. Once during their turn, each player may discard a single strike card from their hand and draw 2 cards. Yes. Absolutely yes. Now, this isn't without its foibles, it isn't without its problems. The fact of the matter is, you've got to discard a single strike card. Now, as it stands at the moment, it seems very much, and our translations I should have mentioned way long ago, come from the lovely Antoine Boulet. And Antoine hasn't told us about anything else, so you can assume that essentially anything here counts. That Mustard, that is a supporter card that lets you, if it's the only card in your hand, play a single strike Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench and draw 5 cards. Single strike Energy that does an extra 20 damage, any single strike Pokemon, etc. They should all work. If you want to know whether a card works with a stadium or not, look for the Rapid Strike, or in Japanese, Ichigeki logo in the top right hand corner of the art. If it's there, you can discard it to draw 2 cards. If it's not there, you cannot discard it to draw 2 cards. The thing is, this just gives you a huge amount of consistency. Honestly, the kind of consistency that most decks just don't have. You don't get much drawing with stadiums. It happens occasionally, but there aren't that many. The only one we've really got at the moment is Rose Tower, but that lets you draw until you've got 3 cards in your hand, which is fine if you've got a tiny hand size, but that's the only way it's working. And given the amount of play it's seeing, almost none, it's fair to assume that people aren't loving it. Heat Factory Prism Star did see a whole bunch of play before it rotated out, and that let you discard a Fire Energy and draw 3 cards, but that still ended up as a one-of in like every Fire deck. And then you've got to go back to cards like Scorched Earth, which was, well, it was actually the same as Heat Factory, but you only drew 2 cards, but you could also discard a Fighting Energy, and that saw a huge amount of play when it was around. Tropical Beach saw a huge amount of play, draw until you got 7 cards in your hand, end your turn, and Tropical Beach in setup decks was amazing. The point I'm making here is, I mean, even Battle City saw a bit of play, and that was just flip a coin. If heads, you draw a card. Now, and actually, while we're here, we've got to give a shout out to Speed Stadium, which was flip a coin until you get tails. And for each heads, draw a card. That one was a lot of fun. The point I'm making here is that Stadium Draw is good because it's drawing extra cards, but it's from a place you wouldn't usually expect it. And I think that makes a huge difference. And we've seen these stadiums see a bunch of play. And the only real downside here is you've got to have a single strike card in your hand that you're willing to get rid of. It's no good sitting there with a whole bunch of cards you want to play and this stadium out. And again, there will be other stadiums you want to play sometimes. And a lot of these Pokemon are going to be fighting again, because Urshifu's fighting regardless of what form it's in. So you may wish to just play Martial Arts Dojo. But my point here is, if you are just playing a single strike deck, and you are going full single strike, you're playing the Pokemon, you're playing the energy, you're going the whole kit and caboodle, why would you not play this? Because it's not your supporter for the turn, it's not an attack, it's not an ability that can be turned off. Why not? Now, sometimes you'll play the stadium, discard a card, you'll draw 2 cards, your opponent will replace it, or they'll use something like a Mars Shadow, and then essentially you play 2 cards to draw 2 cards, but sometimes that's the kind of thing you need in speed decks. A lot of us, me especially, played Unknown R back in the day, and Unknown R was just a Pokemon that you played and then discarded to draw a card. So why would you not? Have a little bit of a go. See what happens. I've actually left Unknown on the screen, but that did the same thing, so I think we're okay. The point is, I love this for consistency. Drawing cards, extra consistency, it's huge. This is a way of getting consistency from somewhere you wouldn't expect it. It's not your supporter for the turn. It's not an attack. It's not an ability. I think it's really good, and I think if you're playing single strike decks, you'd be silly not to play it. I really like both of them. I'm giving them both between 4 and 5 Wassies, and I really don't know where I'm going with this. I just think that both of these are going to see a bunch of play in the respective decks, so between 4 and 5 Wassies, we don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. Seems about right. But I want to hear from you guys. I want to know how much you like these cards, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.